Are you a reader looking for a good book? Or are you an author who has written a book? Good Books Online is the show that brings readers and authors together.
All right, guys, I'm back, and with me is Cheyenne Knopf. Cheyenne, tell the folks at home a little bit about the binding business.
Okay, I am the marketing manager with Online Binding, and we are a self-publishing company who help authors with publishing, printing, binding, distribution, as well as an online bookstore. So it really helps with any step that they may not know. So even if they don't know exactly what to do, we're able to help them through the process. And we can help with just one piece of it or the whole thing.
Okay, great. And I know we've done some of our books. I mean, we do a lot of ebooks, but we also do books, and you've done the printing for us and done a fabulous job at a fabulous price. In fact, I had Larry Steele was on with me, and he got his book printed through somebody else. I'm not going to name names, but he didn't really like the way they had taken care of the spine. The lettering was not centered, and he said that the people he's working with really didn't care one way or the other. Well, the nice thing about working with Cheyenne is they'll give you that attention to detail that you want. And
we guarantee our product. Okay. So if for some reason you've got a book and the cover comes off or something happens, which it's human error sometimes, or maybe the glue didn't apply right, we guarantee that. So if it happens, we'll replace the book for you. The only thing is if we see the dog kind of ran it around the house, that's the only time we wouldn't cover the cost for it.
You don't cover chew toys, huh?
We don't.
Oh,
no.
Darn. And you can also, if you're interested in contacting Cheyenne, you can always contact us through Good Books Online, and we'll be glad to make the connection for you.
Absolutely.
In fact, I'm working on some packaging here so that we'll have some actual packages online shortly, which will tell people about the various printing packages in case they do want to get some hard copies of their book.
Yeah.
We'll talk just a little bit about the book, and then I know you want to talk about some other topics, but here's the thing, I get people that come to me all the time, and they've either gotten railroaded and spent way too much for their book, or like what happened with Larry, where he got the book back, and I mean he was mostly happy, but there was just a few little details that kind of irk him, and I understand because you're spending a lot of money, spending a lot of time to create a book, you want it to really look right. Tell us a little bit about the the book binding process and your part in it.
Okay, first. In our shop, we consider your book your baby, and everyone considers it that. You've worked on it for sometimes years, and just as your child, you cherish this book.
Got to nurture it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we look at it that way from the standpoint of when you're doing the layout, you want to make sure your page is actually set to the size that you want to print, because if it's not, it means you have to redo all of that over again.
Right. Who wants to do that?
Exactly. It's hours of time, and at that point you're typically to the grind. You're trying to get book signings going.
Right.
You're trying to really
You've
market
got other
the
things
book.
to do, right?
So it's starting the process correctly. So starting your template, making sure that you're actually typing on the page size that you want to utilize. And if you don't want to do that, you can always hire someone in to be able to do those processes for you.
We offer that on Good Books Online too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the spine and making sure your cover's right. So you want to make sure either if you're designing your cover or utilizing a company like Good Books Online, the positive to using a company like that is you're going to understand bleed. You're going to understand how to actually design that cover the way I need it to be.
Well, I don't, but our designer does.
Exactly. Yes, the designers know that. So making sure you have a quality print-ready file prior to actually getting the book completed is the biggest step. Also making sure you understand how price affects what you do, or how the size of your book affects your price. Because sometimes people will want their book just to be a 1/4 inch too big to where now that doubles their printing price. So
you don't want to go there.
Yep, understanding that and really getting that knowledge ahead of time is a big deal, because it'll save you a lot of money in the end.
How does somebody normally contact you? I mean, do they normally just call the phone and say, I've got a book to print? And then what happens after that? What's the process like?
Many different ways, either through email, phone, through our website is how they'll contact us. And then I'll have a meeting with them either by phone or in person to really go over their project, understand the project and where they are. I have some people that come in and say, I designed my cover, I did my full interior, I just need somebody to print and bind, and then that's where we start. So it's really, the first part is an interview with the person I'm working with to know what level they're comfortable with on the computer, their knowledge, and how much guidance and help they'll need through the process.
Okay, and I know you're located here in Jacksonville, but you can pretty much work with anybody.
We can.
Right?
I have published books in the United States as far out as California, but even internationally we have shipped to New Zealand.
Wow.
So
That's a heck of a freight charge, huh?
it is, and we do ship even through our bookstore online.
Uh-huh.
We ship everywhere around the world,
Okay.
with exception to the Middle East, and that's just customs issues.
Right.
But otherwise, you're able to promote your book throughout the world online.
Okay, and I mean, because here's the problem: is a lot of people, you know, when they come up to the time where they're getting ready to print their book, you know, they go out and they'll start looking through the writing magazines and Googling things, and you find these people with these really flashy ads. And a lot of times you'll call up the ad and you don't even know who you're really talking to. It could be a phone room anywhere on the planet, you know, a toll-free number, and that's when usually people get in trouble.
Absolutely. It's a buyer beware market.
Right.
For sure. I always recommend really researching and getting some quality reviews on what you're doing or the company you're working with.
Right.
I've heard many horror stories from one gentleman who had a 250-page novel that by the time he got done with the company, who he found through a writer's magazine, he paid $20 a book
Right.
for a paperback book that shouldn't be selling at $20 a book.
Right.
So he was at a loss at that point, and that's tough for an author who's
I know.
doesn't have the money to put
Good,
into it.
good
at
friend
that
of mine had
level.
the same thing. Was doing a cookbook and ended up getting tagged to the tune of $25,000. Where literally, she sold every cook. She got 1,000 copies of the book, but literally, she sold every copy. She'd still be in the hole.
Yep.
So I mean, right away, you're done.
And you have no
and-
marketing money
well,
to
yeah,
put into
plus,
it.
you know, anything that's $25,000 ought to come with a steering wheel, in my opinion. You know?
Exactly.
So you know,
nothing with an author that I've worked with has been anywhere near that number. And the other word I caution authors for is eligible.
Right.
If it says eligible, it normally means eligible to pay more money.
right.
So that I always caution that because it doesn't mean you're getting anything extra. It's just that, okay, now by buying this level, you can get this level
Right.
and get this level.
Do they have to buy 1,000 books with you to get a good
No.
price?
Absolutely not.
I know we didn't. I think we bought a couple hundred copies.
Yep. And I even just priced a book for a woman that's just looking to really do it for her family to start with. It's 25 copies.
Right.
Even with color pages, we're under $10 a book
Wow.
for her to be able to have 25 copies to hand out to
Yeah.
the family. So
That
it
was
can
a very
be
small run.
Yeah, I mean we can do super
Right.
small runs if we need to, and
Okay.
hardbound books we can even do one at a time.
Okay.
So it's whatever quantity they need.
Okay. We're about the middle of your episode. I know when you came in here, you said that you wanted to talk about something other than book printing.
Yes, yeah.
Because one of the nice things about it is you're just not in the book printing business. You're in the author business as well. So tell us a little about your connections.
I am. In addition to this, I'm also the president of the Florida Writers Association, and that's one thing I would recommend to writers is to find a professional organization to be a part of.
Right.
There's the Florida Writers Association, there's also the Florida Authors and Publishers Association, and there's some other good associations. If you have a specific genre for the romance writers or the thriller writers, they have their own organizations. And with the Florida Writers Association, we have monthly meetings all around the state and even throughout the U.S. There's some other groups that have opened up. And they are either critique groups where you join in and critique each other's work,
Okay.
or there's a speaker like myself talking about the bookbinding
Right.
business or talking about taxes for authors or something like that. The other big positive is the conferences. The Florida Writers Association has many conferences, which are now called focus days. So they'll focus on a specific subject, whether it be marketing or creating your characters better.
Right.
And that one-day workshop we have 4 of them a year, and they're all around the state. Very reasonable, and we bring in some really good folks and some professors and also New York Times bestsellers. Our biggest conference, though, is in October, and that's really exciting. It's a 4-day conference. We pull about 500 authors out of our 1,500 author base, and it's up to 12 hours or more a day of workshops. There's typically 4 workshops going on at a time, and then we have some specialized ones
Right.
also.
Plus, more importantly, it gets the authors out of the cave, right?
It does. It really does.
Because I'm an author myself. You kind of get that bunker mentality. Because you're inside your own head and,
Yep.
and you're just sitting there, and people knocking your door and saying, "I'm writing."
Yeah. And hopefully you have the ability to say, I'm writing,
Right.
leave me alone. But it is a great place to really network and get to know some other writers
Sure.
and see their processes
Absolutely.
and what makes them
Absolutely. Yeah.
successful.
What else do you folks do? I mean, specifically, let's say an author comes to you and they're a first-time author. What can you do to help a new author, somebody that's new to the game?
There's many different ways that you can be helped through the Florida Writers Association. So you've got the monthly meetings where it's going to help you with either critiquing your work so
Right.
you can get it ready to take it to the market, or join one of the other groups where you can learn about the business side of it.
Mm-hmm.
From there, you've also got our online network where you're
Right.
able to network. It's a private network, so it's kind of behind closed doors. You can have even critique groups there. We've also are just launching a benefits program for our authors,
Right.
which is fully launched out in October, but right now we are offering benefits like merchant services to accept credit cards. It's a discounted program for authors. We also have the ability for shipping discount. We have through FedEx,
Right.
as well as a Staples discount. So as being a member, you get these additional discounts to go along with it.
Okay, great. We'll definitely put the contact information on the the video when I post it.
Okay.
What else do you want to bring to our listeners today, our viewers?
The other thing would be awards. That's one of our big things at the October
Right.
conference is we do the Royal Palm Literary Awards, and having your book and being able to put a sticker on it that says you're an award winner is a big push. It's a big marketing piece for it. So there's some great ones, whether it be the President's Awards through Florida Authors and Publishers Association, the Florida Book Awards,
Okay.
Royal Palm Literary Awards. That's a great way to get some exposure to your book. And
Right.
through FWA or Florida Writers Association, if you win an award through us, we do a spotlight each month on our authors that gets blasted to our whole
Wow.
membership base. It gets put on Facebook. It's on all of our social media. So that's another way to be able to get some good exposure out.
All right. Now is this only for people that have books or people that write just ebooks? also?
No, it can also be ebooks because we actually request it electronically
Okay.
at this point. So all of the entries are done electronically. All of our judging is blind judging. No
Right.
one ever knows who the judges are.
Right.
So that way we make sure that it's no question of there being any type of anyone wanting to choose who's going to be the winner. They
Right.
don't even know who they are.
All right, great.
So it's a great way to really get out there and get your name out. And you don't even have to have a published book. We have a published and an unpublished category.
Okay.
And almost everyone that's a first place winner in the unpublished gets published the next year.
Well,
So
terrific.
it's a great way for that exposure, as well as we also bring agents and editors in and
Right.
publishers, and you can set up appointments to be able to pitch agents and editors to take your book on.
Okay, that's great. So get out of the cave and come out and network with other authors and editors and agents. I mean, what could be
Yep.
better?
Exactly, October 21st through 23rd in Orlando. It's
Okay.
a great conference that brings people from all walks of life and all over the state.
Anyway, thank you for joining us today on Good Books Online, and I'm sure we'll have you again as
Thanks
part of
for
the
having me.
writer stuff. And keep us in the loop, and we'll pass it on to our readers.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. See you next time.